Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be taking a look at Light and specifically does he need a secondary, because Light is an amazing player. He's pioneered Fox meta so far in Ultimate. He's won multiple majors with the character and is absolutely incredible, but towards the end of the season he had some rough tournaments that were pretty uncharacteristic considering like how good of a player he is, but they're also like 13th at LSI, 4th at main stage, 5th at Scuffed. They're not actually that bad, but just for a player of his caliber he usually does better. So in today's video we're just going to be looking at what are his bad matchups, what characters are good for that, and then if he actually should pick up a secondary. But before we talk about characters that he does struggle with, I want to talk about the pros and cons of having a secondary. The obvious pro is it helps with the bad matchups. That is just, of course, really helpful. They don't have to struggle in these -1, -2 matchups. It's also good for counterpicking, though, against people. Maybe someone's really good against Fox, and you can kind of switch them off. And tempo shifts, of course, just like Light is playing this super fast smother you style with Fox, and if you're switching to a character that's maybe more slow, maybe has more meaty hits every time, then that could be really scary. And the cons, of course, are splitting practice. This is probably the biggest one. Splitting your practice between two characters isn't always great, especially with a character like Fox, who is pretty hard. You need his combos to be pretty precise at the top level and his precision to be on point, and choice crisis as well, when you have to choose, okay, do I go my better character of Fox or do I go my better matchup of whoever my secondary is? So there's some pros, some cons, and now let's talk about the bad matchups. So I have my picks here of Steve, Game & Watch, Ice Climbers, Wario, and then I also want to mention Pikachu and Cloud. I feel like Cloud is mainly Spargo, and Pikachu I think isn't super meta relevant right now, but I think 2023 could be the year of the rat with Shiny Mark and H4 on the rise, Esam making his big return, Abadongo and Neros could pop off at any moment. So I think there could be a lot more Pikachu representation in 2022, but for now he doesn't have to worry about that, and I want to focus on Wario, Steve, Game & Watch, and Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers probably being his worst matchup that he has to worry about currently, because Wario I feel like is more of just like he just really hates the character, so we want to find him a secondary that at least likes the matchup in. And then Steve and Game & Watch, he can beat, and he has beat on multiple occasions. Like he's beat Meister a couple times, he's beat Onan and Akala both on separate occasions, but it's just like those are matchups where Fox is in a disfavorable position, and if Light can get himself out of that, I think that could be really helpful. So those are the main ones we're going to be focusing on, but just know, like, Pikachu and Cloud were kind of put into consideration, but it's going to be mainly these four we're worried about. Also, just something I completely forgot to mention when I made the video is FGC characters like Ken, Ryu specifically. I think Fox struggles against them, and I think Light does a little bit as well. But I think the character that we chose in the end does still do pretty well against the FGC characters that I'm concerned about. So it's something I should have mentioned throughout. I just forgot to, but hey, here it is now. Enjoy the rest of the video. So these are the 5 characters that I picked that I think would suit Light the best, and I think would just help his matchups out a lot. And we're going to be excluding them all one by one, and we're going to start off by excluding Game & Watch, because I don't want Light to hate me, but Game & Watch, for all the matchups, does very well, but I don't want him to hate me, so we're not going to talk about Game & Watch, we're just going to talk about ZSS, Palutena, Cloud, and Aegis. And the first one I want to talk about is going to be Palutena. Now, I have 2 matchup charts here, one by Luis and one by Chag. Links to their tutorials will be in the description. And these are a little old. I think they're both about a year old, but still the idea stays the same. And they have agreements that Palutena wins against both Wario and Ice Climbers. So there's 2 boxes checked off, and they disagree on Game & Watch and Steve. Actually, they both agree Steve isn't even, but they disagree on Game & Watch. Luis thinks it's even. Chag thinks it is winning. I think personally, I think it's winning for Palutena. I think Palutena is pretty good in that matchup. I think up air, if you space it correctly, is very good against down air. I think back air is incredible in that matchup, and forward air being one of the very few moves that if spaced correctly can be actually safe on Game & Watch Shield. I think Palutena has a very strong chance in that matchup, and I think overall Palu is a great character. The only thing that she doesn't do amazing against is Steve. She still does have a losing record to Steve, which isn't, or like not losing, but even to Steve, definitely better than Fox does, which isn't ideal. You want to have that winning record with all the characters, so we're going to keep Palutena in mind, but we're going to move on now to ZSS. Now, Zero Suit does pretty good against Game & Watch and Steve, at least to some people. I know the Steve matchup has been favoring more Steve recently, but Zero Suit does very good against Game & Watch. She bodies that character. Wario is a little closer, but I do think it favors ZSS. And then the other one was Ices and Ice Climbers. Zero Suit can just kind of run from Ices, but also in theory so can Fox. But I do think Zero Suit wins that. She's Plasma Whip as well. So that's a lot of very good matchups for Zero Suit. But I am going to exclude her because of how hard she is. The other 3 characters that we have left are Palutena, Cloud, and Aegis. those characters aren't as hard as Zero Suit. She is incredibly hard, and the way you play her isn't really a Light playstyle. You have to kind of camp with Zero Suit. You have to use your mobility to like outspace your opponents. Light likes to apply the pressure, and Zero Suit usually doesn't get to do that. So I am going to eliminate Zero Suit, but I thought she was worth a mention. And for the final two characters, we have Pyra, Mythra, and Cloud, and I'm using Spargo's matchup chart from about like a year ago. Still pretty outdated, but the general idea is still the same. Steve matchup, probably the only thing that moves up. But I do think that Cloud body Steve. I think Cloud is one of like the 5 characters that actually does very, very well against Steve consistently, which is very good. I also agree, Cloud does very well against Game & Watch, Cloud does very well against Wario, and Cloud does very well against Ice Climbers. So that is your big 4 matchups being crossed up. Spargo also has Cloud winning against Rob, which is, I don't know, I'm not as confident on that one, but also I believe him because Cloud is very, very good. And also, then again, you don't have to worry about the Cloud Ditto because that's just Cloud v Cloud. So I think Cloud is a very strong contender, but so is Aegis, because Aegis also wins all of these matchups. It wins the same amount of matchups. The only one they don't win as hard is against Cloud. Spargo has Cloud as even, but that is very, very strong for Light. Like, both of these characters do very well in every single matchup that he may be concerned with. And to be honest, right now, his biggest concern is probably Ice Climbers. I think Ice Climbers, you need the best character for that. So now we have our final 3. Aegis, Cloud, and Palutena. But only one can be the winner. And we're going to be eliminating 2 of them right now. The upsides of Aegis is Mythra. Mythra is perfect for Light. The downside is Pyra. Pyra sucks for Light. I think Mythra for Light would go crazy, but you can make it far on solo Mythra. Would I recommend it? No. I probably would not. Cloud, the ledge trapping for Cloud and the neutral as well is crazy for Light. Light on Cloud ledge trapping, I don't know how you get past him. Like, that would be insane. The downside for him is the mid combos. You usually have Light doing these insane combos with these unreal extensions of these reads. I don't think Cloud can do that as much as the other 2 characters. And then Palutena, her grab is so good, because Light is the best player in the world at grabbing, probably. Maybe him or Spargo, but I'd give it to Light. His grabs are absolutely unreal because of the way he plays. And if you had a character with a good grab, because Fox's grab sucks, he gets nothing off it. If you have a character with a Palutena back throw type grab, that is amazing for Light. But also, she is slower than the other 2 by not a super, super big amount, but by an amount that it is enough to dock at a point. And because of that, her pressure is just slower. It's not there for Light. She can't smother as well as the other 2 characters. So I'm going to eliminate Palutena. And now we have just Aegis and Cloud. And after like 20 minutes of me just thinking here, just sitting down, I couldn't decide. I chose Cloud. I think Cloud is a really, really good secondary for Light. I think his pressure with this character would be unreal. He could still go for these crazy reads. I think his limit usage would be absolutely incredible. And the recovery on Light, or on Fox and Cloud, is comparable in the way that they can get gimped. Like, these characters have okay recoveries, like, but they could both get messed with in similar ways just by like these big disjointed hitboxes, and I don't think that would mess up with Light as much. I think Light's Cloud would be incredible, and it does really well in his worst matchups, like specifically Ice Climbers, Game & Watch, and Steve, and then I also think it does pretty good against Wario. So now that we've finally chosen our character, let's actually talk about it. Does Light need a secondary? And the answer is no. He doesn't need one at all. He's still like top 4 in the world this year. Like, he is so good with solo Fox, and Fox is super solo viable. Would Cloud help? Yes, absolutely. I think having a secondary is always good, but Cloud is a character that isn't technically hard. There's nothing insane that you have to do with input-wise. There's no insane combo routes you have to learn. But the thing that makes Cloud hard is the way you have to play him. Like Spargo, you have to play Cloud very fast, and you have to play him reactionary a lot of the time. That sounds perfect for Light. Light's reactions are unreal. His gameplay is some of the quickest in the world. Like, Cloud is a character that fits Light very, very well, and also just, it covers all the bad matchups that he has right now that he's facing, especially Ice Climbers. I think Ice Climber is the only character that it looks like right now Light should pick up a secondary for. He'll probably figure it out because he always does. He's figured it out for Meister. He figured it out for Onin and Aquila. He'll figure it out for like Cloud as well against Spargo. But I think Cloud as a secondary could be a huge help No, he doesn't need it. I think it'd be cool to see him try it. He probably won't because, honestly, his Fox is really, really good, and he can just stick it out. And yeah, I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If there's a character that you think he should pick up more, maybe one of the 5 I chose, maybe one I didn't even mention, I could see it. I don't know all the matchups super well, or like at least to the knowledge to like be confident all 80. But I'm pretty confident with the choice of Cloud. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed. This video was really fun to make, and sport's been absolutely unreal lately. Let me know what you guys want for future videos, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.